Friends, it is a monumental day on the Real Friends podcast. We have our first interview with a director. Mr. Guile Branco is here, who is an actor, a writer, a producer, a former bodybuilder, an all around good guy. So, how are you, sir? Thank you for coming on.
So many things. I also have to say I was the U-Haul driver during filming.
Oh, okay.
I had to drive the U-Haul with all the equipment back and forth. Everybody was resting. I'm like, well, I can't pay for a driver, so I'm doing it.
Well, you say about pay, right? You talk about how this is a low budget film, right?
Mhm.
So the idea of like settings and things like that, like where did you do most of the filming for the movie?
Well, here's what I'm gonna say. Okay, it is a low budget film. I mean, but it's not a low budget when it comes to like my life. I am not a wealthy guy, so for me to be doing a movie that has a value of $250,000, that I mean, you can buy a real nice car with that money.
Oh
It's a
yeah,
little crazy. We shot in LA. LA is hard. Los Angeles is not a friendly place to film anything. I guess they're trying to make it better now with incentives. They're trying,
okay.
but basically, LA is a pain in the ass. That's like basically what it is. And I'm gonna say the way I could pull it off is yes, I had to direct. I had a producer, very good producer, but I also, me and my partner in the company, my company is called Bright Night Entertainment. We were taking turns, I mean, doing producing stuff. So we had to wear a lot of hats. And to save money, I just begged my friends with houses to let me film in their houses. It was a lot of begging. I have to say, it was a lot of like, please, please let me film in your location, kind of stuff. Um, but I feel like because I've been in Los Angeles for I'm going to say almost 20 years, and working with film and mostly as an actor, but in I write a lot and involved in friends productions. You end up meeting a lot of people, and I
Sure.
feel like if I hadn't been in Los Angeles for this many years, I probably would fall short on resources, because it was basically like thinking, oh, I need a big house. I need a place that has to be in a lawyer's office. I need this. And we couldn't pay for everything. We didn't have a budget for all that. I'll tell you what, the only place we paid for was the main house, which is the Long's house.
Hmm.
And that was pricey, man. That was 12 days, and that was almost $6,000 or something like that.
Oh
And
wow.
but then again, I never thanked you. Thank you for allowing me into your podcast.
Absolutely. No, thank you. It's pretty crazy, right, that you reached out to us.
Yeah,
Is that a big part of your marketing? Are you reaching out to things like that to kind of
I
get the
am
word
rich.
out or?
I'm reaching out to people. I'll tell you what happened. So we released the film on digital platforms last year around Halloween.
Okay.
And we had a distributor who acquired the worldwide rights of the film. It's called Breaking Glass Pictures. Great company, love them to death. But I realized that that's only so much they can do. They
Sure.
hired a publicist, which I'm very thankful for. He got us a lot of good reviews, and most reviews are actually good. I mean, which I'm very thankful for. Very thankful.
Sure.
Um, I'm glad it's not a pile of shit. It's actually we did good work. It's not for everybody, but we work hard to make it get it done. But anyways, the commitment of the distribution company was short. Was maybe 3 months.
Okay.
And so what happened was I let them do what they're doing, and I realized about I'm going to say about 5 months ago, a clip of the movie went viral on TikTok,
Okay.
and I can send it to you, but it's a clip where they talk about eating the finger and pooping it and
Oh yeah,
send it
yeah,
to
yeah.
Etsy to make a necklace. That clip is okay. You guys watch the film. That clip is ridiculous. Anyways, uh, anyways, I never had an account on TikTok.
Okay.
basically. When I saw that clip, it got like 55,000 views in a short period of time and over 140 comments. I was just like, wow, this is very interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe I should start a TikTok account because, as far as I know, nobody, our PR lady, or nobody did any TikTok or any social media. It was all direct to critics and stuff like that, which is great. Um, so I decided to myself take upon my, I guess, wearing multiple hats to have yet one more thing to do. I decided to see if I could explore ways to promote the movie on social media. And that's when I started a TikTok account for the movie. And I've been asking people, see the movie, if you'd like to review it. And it's not something that it's kind of fun because it creates conversation.
Sure.
You get ignored a lot, and that's okay. That's
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah.
But I love the conversation that comes out of it. I love when people watch the movie and they have a positive reaction about it. They like the film. So it's been very positive. So all my free time, I go on TikTok, I go on social media, and I reach out to people, and it's been fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. This is a pretty
Yeah.
new podcast. Like this will
Hmm.
be like our 20th episode. And I
Amazing.
found about 5 episodes in that YouTube and Spotify weren't cutting it, right? So
Hmm.
I put one clip on TikTok and my viewership went up to like 500 compared to like 30. So I feel like TikTok is the way forward for media for sure.
Yeah, yeah, it really created a change. To be honest, it's something new for me as well. I mean, the social media and TikTok, it's been
Hmm.
fairly recent, maybe only a couple months or even less. But I have been having some great movement. Let me introduce you guys to some stuff here. So I came prepared, as you can see. Okay, so this is Joe. He's prominently displayed in the movie. Very cute. We have here the foot and the grinder. This is the only prop of the movie that I won't get rid of. It's basically this beautiful grind. It's very heavy, by the way, and basically a severed foot. And then you grind it, okay? And then you whatever comes out of here, you eat it later. Raw is better.
Yeah.
Um, I add some salt, pepper, some garlic. It's fantastic. If you want to see what happens, watch the movie because we have a very iconic scene at the end. I'm not going to say too much, but
Yeah.
it's been fun.
Yeah, we tomorrow with two people that I reviewed Clown on a Cornfield with, we're gonna do a full review of the movie, and
Love it.
include this on that. So, but
Amazing.
since it's amazing to me that those are the two props you brought because those are two actors and characters I want to talk about. Um, so
Absolutely.
when anyone you talk to about this movie, they talk about Goth Girl, right? Like
Yep.
she's kind of the iconic character in this movie.
And it's something I wasn't really expecting. She is the one character that almost everybody talks about.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the lead actors. I mean, we have Lynn Lowry. Lynn Lowry is very known in horror circles because she acquired fame in the 70s when she worked with David Cronenberg in
Was that
Shivers. She worked,
Shivers? Yep.
yeah, George Romero. She said she did I Drink Your Blood in the 70s. So she became an iconic, known horror actress for the people who love like that old 70s horror. And she kept acting. I mean, she's been acting for 40 years. I think she's 77 or
Oh
76.
wow. Okay.
Uh, and we got her to be the lead in our film, and she's absolutely phenomenal. And yes, everybody talks about her. She's the lead one. She is insane. She's I guess, the center focus of the film when
Hmm.
she delved into madness. Um, but what the film truly is, a Halloween Feast, is an ensemble cast. Because Lynn Lowry, she's surrounded by a lot of characters. And some people, I guess, when it comes to criticism, some people say, "Oh, it's hard to follow," or yeah. If you stay on your phone, it's hard to follow.
Right. Sure.
A lot of people these days, you watch a film and you're on your phone. That happens a lot. I get it. I do it too.
Hmm.
Um, but this is a film that it's not just a horror film. It's a comedy, primarily a dark comedy, and it is an ensemble cast in which you kind of have to pay attention because the characters they interact with each other, and there's certain and things kind of converge in the end. Um, but yeah, one of the characters, Goth Girl, yeah, everybody loves her, and I gotta tell you, she's a phenomenal actress. Her name is Asia Lynn Pitts, and I was so thankful that she said yes to be in the movie because she just became this iconic, amazing character. She's not even in the film that much,
No,
and
yeah,
everybody
she's
loves
not.
her.
Yeah, I talk
Everybody
about
loves her.
on nearly all of my podcasts, I talk about, small characters that have very small roles but steal the show, right? And I wouldn't equate her as a very small character, but she's
Mhm.
still, a more minor character of the ensemble, but every time she's on screen, you're completely locked into everything she does.
Absolutely. And I'll give you an example. One thing that happened early on. So in the movie, there's a tarot scene. I'm sure you
Hmm.
remember the tarot scene.
Yep.
Okay, that scene didn't exist in previous, I guess, versions of the screenplay. What happened was, this is before I even cast a goth girl, Asia, to be this character. People started to react so well to the writing of the character of goth girl that I felt like I needed to make the character bigger. So I
Okay.
wrote that the tarot scene was probably the last scene I wrote in the film that added to the film. And then we got Asia. She was great. And then when we were editing the movie, a lot of people would say, the tarot scene is the only scene that's kind of really slow. I mean, it kind of slows down the movie a little bit. And there was a conversation of like, maybe we should just make it really short. And I said, no, let's keep it because I really believe that Asia would she would carry that character and people would enjoy that scene even if it's slow. I don't care. Let's keep it the way it is. So I fought a little bit. Me and the editor just keep that scene in there, and yeah, people love it.
Yeah.
A lot of people talk about, oh, the movie could have been shorter. I agree, and the thing is, it's okay. People will have different ideas about what they want a film to be. A lot of people want a film to be very quick. you know, uh, Maybe in hindsight we could have made it a little shorter in the middle, but I'm happy with what we did.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And we talk about a lot on this podcast the difference between slow and boring, right? There's a
Hmm.
very big difference. Like something
Yeah,
can be slow, but if it adds to character development or things like that, it's important. And I didn't at all get bored in that scene. Like this, I loved this movie. I really did. I had a lot of
thank you,
fun. I
thank you,
just
Alex.
finished. I just finished watching it for the fourth time, and I've
Oh
only been
man.
talking to you for about a week. So,
Hey, you, you
uh,
you see, this is the stuff that keeps me going because if I hadn't reached out to you on TikTok, we wouldn't be here talking. And so for me, it's very special because, and also I have no shame. I'll tell you anything you need to know, any questions you have. I'm an open book. I feel like I don't want to be the person that's unreachable. No, I want to be the person who will hopefully, if I could, get my resources and make this movie, like you can also do it. You can probably put it together. Was it hard? Yeah, parts of it were very hard. But I feel like in the end of the day, if you have a good team, I think one of the biggest lessons of making a film, a full feature film, is the team has to be good. Like make sure that that people know what they're doing.
mhm.
Um, I have, being in this business, you hear stories from other filmmakers. I know of a filmmaker who he shot this movie, and then the camera guy forgot to clean the lens.
Oh,
So there was a blurry stuff. So half the footage is gone. so I'm just saying, that's why it's so hard to get into the film business, is because people keep the same people they trust. And
Hmm.
and I think that myself being in Los Angeles for almost 20 years, I kind of knew the people I wanted to work with, and everybody did an amazing job. Um, or we wouldn't have a movie. I mean, honestly, honestly, it's like a puzzle. You put the pieces together of the puzzle, and
Yeah.
then in the end, um, and one thing I need to say is based on what we had, the movie actually came out better than I thought,
Okay.
and that is not what happens normally.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm gonna say that 90% of, I guess, independent filmmaking, you have this image in your head, and you go like, okay, you film the movie, you edit the movie, and you're like, okay, well, it's not quite what I imagined. It's a little less exciting, but I made it. I'm happy. It's all good. For a Halloween feast, I have to say, I'm actually happier. I was a little blown away by it, by how it turned out. And it's the team. It's, I don't know, some magic. Maybe there was the gods of horror cinema were on my side. I'm not sure, but
Yeah.
I'm very happy with the film, and I'm glad you
Oh,
are too.
yeah, no, absolutely. And one of my co-hosts, Emily, she's currently watching it and wanted me to tell you she loves it. So she'll be on the review tomorrow. But she wanted me to
Fantastic.
let you know that. I want to talk about, the production and how this movie came along because I heard that you were writing this for 15 years. Is that accurate?
Yeah, it's accurate, and I'll tell you what happened. So I started writing this screenplay out of a short story I had that I probably wrote when I was like 19.
Okay.
Okay, I'm about 40, so it's a long time ago. Um, I had a full feature version probably around 2008, and it's a long time ago, I know. Uh, and it was kind of rough. And I moved to LA in 2008 and 2007 actually. And I got my co-writer. Actually, before I got my co-writer, I almost wanted to just make it the movie back then. But then I realized I didn't have the people. You know, I just kind of abandoned the first time. I'm like, maybe it needs more time. I got a co-writer, Arthur McClan, who is a brilliant screenwriter, and he actually brought in a lot of the dark humor in it. I'll give you an example of one element in the film that I almost said no to him. I'm not going to say what it is. The twist in the end, at the very end, about maybe the family being a little bigger than they thought.
Sure.
That was not my idea. I actually was just like, maybe this is going too far. And then he said, "No, you must keep it." I'm like, "Okay, okay." I kept it. So he was very good at doing some really crazy stuff in the screenplay, and I'm very thankful. And then we partnered with a production company here in Los Angeles in 2000. I think it was 12. And then I thought, now we're gonna make the movie. Well, I thought that this company was gonna bring in investors and money. They didn't do anything. So the whole thing just ended. I mean, it just fizzled, it just fizzled entirely. So for 10 years, the next decade after that, all I did was work as an actor and do a rewrite every couple of years. So just take it out and just, my computer and do a little rewrite. And I kept rewriting just myself at that point. And I'm going to tell you, I am very thankful for that because I don't think that the version I had 10 years ago was nearly as interesting as what we actually filmed. So I'm actually thankful for this decade plus that I spent just kind of, just fixing a few things and changing a few things here and there. Adding the scene for Goth Girl, making it bigger, all of that. And and honestly to you, I wasn't going to be directing this film because I never saw myself as a director.
Sure.
I always saw myself as a writer because I love to write. I love it. I disappear into it. And I love to be an actor. I mean, I love acting. I actually have not super consistent, but I have work from time to time. I do have a little career in Brazil. I'm Brazilian, by the way. I'm from Sao Paulo. Been here for a long time, but I'm from Brazil. And I did a couple movies, bigger movies in Brazil, and so I travel sometimes to do stuff there. Um, but I just kind of felt like, okay, maybe I'll get a director to take my screenplay and turn into life. Well, what happened was I actually offered to a couple of people, and both times I offered the screenplay, they accepted, but they I didn't feel any passion. It was kind of like, yeah, I'll direct your film, you know. And then I'm like, I've been working on this for over a decade. Like I can't have a director who's just going to be like, yeah, I'll direct your film. I mean, I just felt like one day I just went like, screw it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to direct this, but I'm going to hire the best assistant director I can find to make sure I won't do any shitty things.
Sure.
And just prior to filming the movie, I had met Genevieve Cortez. Yeah, Genevieve. She was an AFI alumni. AFI is the American Film Institute, which is like one of the best directing, producing, I guess, schools in I'm gonna say the world. I mean, they're like a prime, like Hollywood school. And I acted in one of her films. And I asked her, I said, Genevieve, I really want you to be my assistant director. And and she said, what do you want me to do? And I said, I want you, don't let me fuck this up. It was basically it. I said, don't let me fuck this up. And I'm gonna tell you something, she actually stopped me a few times. During filming, I would come and be like, Genevieve, how about we do this scene like this? And she would say, no, no. And and I'll just go, and I would actually go, okay, all right, and she would explain to me why not. Sometimes, I mean, many times it was just because of time, because the assistant director, one of the big duties that they have is they're your clock. So she would tell
Sure.
me, we have 45 minutes to do this. So I'm like, oh, crap, we got to do the scene in 45 minutes. I'll give you an example. There's a scene where the lawyer is killed in a parking lot.
Hmm.
So that scene was going to be a much longer stalking scene, going through a building and then ending at a stairway. And when we were about to shoot that scene, she told me it's not gonna work. The location is not as good, and it's too tight or whatever. How about we do it in the parking lot? And I didn't want to do it. I'm like, but I really want to do that. It's my vision. And she looked at me. She says, Gil, no. And I was just like, okay,
Okay.
okay. Okay. We never had a fight. I'm telling you, we never had a one fight. And I love her so much. I want her to be my assistant. If I ever direct again, I want her to be right there with me because I told her, do not, you must work with me always. So, anyways, that's the
Um,
story.
Wait, you talk about timing, right? That was one thing I wanted to ask you. Like, how
Mhm.
long did you have to film this once you got the whole cast and everyone together?
We shot a Halloween feast in 19 days,
Wow.
plus 1 day drone shots. We had a schedule locked of 19 days. We had maybe a few breaks in between. I'm gonna say no more than 2 or 3 days here and there. But it was 19 days locked between I would say late February to March 19th of 2023.
Okay.
And we just did it. And then the following weekend that was open, There's a director I know, very good. He's also a horror director. His name is Matthew Hirsch, and he came in to do some photography for us, and which was I'm very thankful for. And he said, "I have a drone. Do you want it? Do you want to use my drone?" And I said, "Yeah." So the drone shots in the film, they weren't even planned. Like basically, we shot the movie, the 19 days, and I'm like, "Hey, Matthew, can we do the drone?" And he came over at like 4 a.m. and we shot the scenes that came out awesome. I mean, really, the dinosaur driving the car to the sunset,
So
and
cool. So
you
cool.
know, it's just you know. And but I'm very thankful for having a schedule like that, like in which each day, and then it kind of ends. Um, because I know some people shooting films. Because when you don't have the resources, normally you wait until a location opens up. So
Hmm.
you just kind of film. Okay, are you free this weekend? Okay, we can film. Oh, we have a location open. Can you go? And I could not. I've done films like that as an actor, and it's just weird because you get a call and it will be like, "Hey, Gil, we're shooting this scene at the dumpster, on the 19th. Are you available?" I just, I've been there too many times. So for
Yeah.
my film, I'm like, you know what? We're gonna do a schedule, and we're just gonna knock it out day by day. We had a crew that was just tight, and I'm very thankful for that.
Sure. And it's that perspective is really great, right? Like I've done
Mhm.
most of my acting is
Mhm.
theater, right? I've been a theater
I
guy
love
through
theater.
college
Oh,
and everything.
hmm
Like and I started directing in theater and I like that so much more, but having the
hmm
perspective of an actor knowing, hey, this is how actors want to be treated, that's huge. And I'm sure you saw that in your film too.
Yeah, because I am primarily an actor. So it's weird because me being a director, okay, first of all, I want to be nice to everybody, not just the actors, but the crew. I was very thankful to meet people. I went to shoot a different project as an actor, and the one of the light guys, the gaffer, he saw me. He's like, "Your film is still the best experience I've ever had." you
Oh,
know
wow.
but also because I guess I wanted to just it to be a happy set, and it was a very happy set. We never went overtime. Our rule was we're going to film for 12 hours, and that's it. No matter what happens, it ends. And the crew really appreciates that. I mean, obviously shooting a union show with lots of money, what happens is, overtime is great because the crew starts making a lot of money, the actors and everybody just goes like jackpot. But
Hmm.
on a low budget independent film, we don't have the luxury of money. So it's like all we have to pay you is this rate for the day. So it hits 12 hours, we're done. And so everybody was thankful. And yeah, the actors, I feel like, also because I'm acting in the film, and that's for me is it was a little weird to be like, all right, folks, we're going to do this scene, and you do this, you walk from here to here, and I'll be right there, because I'm in the scene many times.
Right.
Uh, and that's when I have to say that Genevieve was my eyes. Like for my scenes, I had to trust Genevieve, and I'll tell her, I say, we don't have time for me to really watch everything.
Sure.
So if you tell me the scene looks good and you're happy and you think I'll be happy, we move on. Because on a low budget film, we don't have the luxury of doing, 20 takes. I
Right.
mean, we at the most we had maybe 7 takes, and that was when I guess one of our camera guys, great guy. He had the Steadicam. You know what Steadicam? It stabilizes the
Hmm.
thing, the camera. And so he was a Steadicam slash camera operator. And there's a scene in the bar where the camera follows the actor.
Right.
It goes through the party, and we did like 7 takes because he wanted to be perfect.
Hmm.
But that came at a cost. We couldn't shoot other things.
Sure.
Like there's a lot of things that I wanted to do in that bar that inserts and things and he said no, this is going to be so good. You're going to need this shot alone for the opening of the party. And he was right. When we were editing, my editor, his name is Ryan Kelly. He's in New Jersey. Um, Incredible. I'm also hoping to work with him forever. Um, yeah, we looked at the footage and it's like he was right. That's all we needed. It's just the steady cam following and because we did 7 times, we got the perfect shot. Because normally we would go like three takes, we're done, move on. We don't have time. So
Yeah. Well,
um,
and did I hear you talk about in another interview that the party scene is different from how you originally wrote it? Like, did you have an actor that couldn't be there or something
yep,
that you wanted in there?
that's true. So it was a change that in the end I thought was for the best.
Okay.
So what happened was the party scene was supposed to have more of the lead actors in it. A goth girl was supposed to be there, and because she was supposed to go to the party with Stuart, the brother,
Right.
and so everybody was supposed to be there in that scene. Um, well, I'm not going to name names, but somebody got COVID just before. And
Okay.
this was still, 2023. The whole COVID thing was a little still
Yeah.
sensitive. And he got COVID, and we're like, okay, how do we do this? Because we don't have money to reschedule the scene. Especially we had about 40 extras who were coming.
Right.
So I panicked for about maybe half a day. I was panicking, thinking, "Oh my God, how we can't reschedule. What do we do? And then I just had a realization. I'm gonna rewrite the scene without Goth Girl, without Stewart, and for some reason, rewriting that scene made the lead character of Karen stronger because because the scene was focused mostly on her. When Mark disappears, everything is on her, and I thought that that was very powerful because in the original script, the brother was supposed to sabotage the little guy's car,
Oh, okay.
not Karen. You see, I'm giving a little spoiler, but it's okay. Just a little,
Yeah,
little
it's
tidbits
okay.
of information. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that was the original idea, is that the brother would be like, that little, Cujo is such an asshole that I'm going to sabotage his car.
Yeah.
Having Karen go out there and do it herself, it brought more of a gravitas to Karen in that moment. And it's just one thing that you can't predict. You can't predict that you're going to film a movie like that and everything will be exactly what you want. Um, I love the fact that some things happen by chance. It's just things that, you know, the only reason the scene is the way it is because an actor got sick.
Sure.
And and I love how it turned out. So I'm almost like, thank you for getting sick. you know, it's a little lame
Yeah.
to say that, but I actually like the way it is now a lot. So
Sure. And I would imagine your theater background helped with that for, the simple
Mhm.
phrase of the show must go on, right? Like
Show
you
must
have
go
to
on. Yeah,
you have to figure it out.
yeah. In theater, you can't something falls down, you can't just stop the play. You got to keep going.
Right. Right.
And I remember once I was doing a play in Sao Paulo before I moved to. I did a lot of theater before moving to the States in when I was 19, 20, super young.
Hmm.
But I remember doing a drama and the chandelier just fell. And the thing is, you can't. You just keep
Hold on,
doing the
everybody.
scene.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
you just keep going, and nobody's hurt, so we just keep going. And
yeah,
and when you do yeah, you're right. When we do a low budget film, the show must go on. Yeah, like I said, if I had $1 million, we would have rescheduled that scene.
sure.
We would have been just like, okay, everybody, we're gonna have a break.
Yeah.
And then you go through the pain in the ass of getting all the extras, getting the location again, and you probably have to pay crew again, double, because if you skip a day, there's a certain liability that you need to still pay them if it's in the schedule because they open up the day for you. So, like I said, low budget filmmaking, the magic of it is the improvisation and the unforeseen circumstances that just arise out of the ether, and you just go like, how do I deal with this? And yeah, and in the end, this is something that George Lucas said in one of his classes. George Lucas said, it doesn't matter. Okay, in the end of the day, okay, what happens on set, it does matter to shape the film, absolutely, especially talking on a low budget film. But when you present the film to an audience, it doesn't matter what happened before. You're presenting what you're presenting, and there's no. If somebody's going to criticize it for this or for that or for that or for that, it is what it is. You're presenting a product,
Right.
and one thing I can say is another example is we were shooting with a 95-year-old actress. So her name was Mary Bremier, and I'll tell you who she is right now. Okay, so if you remember her, okay, so this is Mary Bremier. Do you remember her? She is grandma.
She's my favorite character. We'll talk about her. She is my favorite
We're
in the
talking about
film.
her. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Mary Bremier, okay, she lives in my heart. And she was 95 years old when we were shooting. And she's never acted before. She was a friend of mine, and she's a writer. So I felt like, Mary's an artist. If you're a writer, you're a creative person. She's creative. She sang, she did opera. And I asked her to be in the movie, and she said yes. And I'm very thankful because she's unbelievable in the film for what she does,
Absolutely.
and everybody loves her. Um, but I just want you to just to give you an idea of how stressful it is when somebody doesn't know texting, or like you have to basically call and hope they'll answer.
Hmm.
And I had to send a car to pick her up, and I'm super worried about like what if she doesn't come out, or what if she was having some issues back then with her heart and things like that. So I was worried. We had 5 days with her, and I was just hoping that it would be okay, and it was. And I am so thankful that it was, because we have this beautiful gift now. She died only 8 months after filming.
Oh,
I
really?
mean,
I didn't know
we
that.
finished filming. Yeah, yeah, yeah. She passed away very shortly after, and I'm very thankful she saw the movie before she passed. 20 days before she passed, she came to a special screening we had of the finished film, and she came, and she was amazing. I mean, she would say, she asked my wife, "Does Gil have nightmares?" My wife is like, "Why?" Because maybe he needs to process dark thoughts. So she had a great sense of humor. Now we have so many stories from her on set. Like one time, a lot of her scenes were with James Griggs. James Griggs is the actor who played Richard, and there's a certain scene in which you have three people in bed.
Hmm.
You remember that? Okay. So James was laughing. He said, "Oh my God, it's my first threesome." And then and then and then Mary said, "At your age?" So another thing that happened was our costume designer was approached Mary, and she said, "Mary, look, you're gonna have a film in your resume." And Mary turned to her and says, "No, in my obituary." So, she was just amazing, and her sense of humor was just something that was a gift to everybody.
Yeah.
So I have nothing but appreciation for having Mary in the film. Um, you know, she would come up and be like, "What's happening?" Do you know what's happening? She would ask the other actors and be like, "Well, it's making a movie. It's a little crazy." She's like, "Well, let me know when you need me." So,
That's
anyways,
that's awesome to hear about her sense of humor, right? Because I don't believe she has a single line in the movie. Is that correct?
not at all. Not
Yeah,
at
not
all.
a line. And she shows her sense of humor through everything she does. Like the fly, I'm not going to talk about because I don't want to spoil it, but like that might be my
Yep.
favorite moment of the film.
Oh
Her
my gosh,
sense of
that's
humor just
that's awesome.
radiated. So,
Yes, yes. And the movie ends with her, you know?
yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean? Yeah, she was just super funny. And um like we talked a lot after, she ended up living in a senior home of like a assisted living facility for the her last days. And I would come with a laptop and show her scenes of the movie, stuff like that. And yeah, she was just amazing. When she walks in the end into the kitchen, I just feel like I see myself rooting for her. I'm like, Mary, when she walks in the room, I'm like, Mary, you go, yeah, yeah, you go grind that foot. Spoilers.
yeah.
Yeah, classic.
I do want to go back to talking about you with this film a little bit.
Of course,
Did you write the part of Mark for yourself, or was that a late
I did.
decision? You did,
No, no, I
okay.
did. I did, and also because, like I said before, I'm primarily an actor, so
Right.
I've always like I wasn't going to be directing this. So for me, as an actor slash writer, it's just natural that we would try to write something for ourselves. I mean, especially it's so hard to break into the film industry. I mean, it's so hard, and that since the two passions of my life are writing and acting, how do you put them together? So I wrote Mark for myself. I did, but I made sure that my co-writer came in and worked on it too. I'm a big believer in collaboration
Sure.
because I'm gonna tell you why. Like I think that for a writer, when you finish a project, a screenplay, we always have a sense of like this is amazing, and it's something that's very subjective because we are so excited when we write something. If you're truly a passionate screenwriter or playwright, or you get excited for when you write something. But let me tell you something. That's a very subjective feeling.
Sure.
I knew a director who would write stuff and he would believe it was a masterpiece and he wanted to film it. And I'm telling you, it was just awful stuff.
Mm,
But I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I believe that you write something, you get feedback, you get collaboration is what I believe is what makes things great.
sure.
You can't just always be like, oh, I wrote something, it's great. Even if you believe it's great, you have to really have people read it, people you trust. Have people go through it, and trust me, I had a lot of people look at it. Some people obviously want to criticize, and I welcome criticism. Um, when you get criticism, the right approach is not to go like, oh, the person is right. No, the right approach is let's think about this, let's brainstorm it, and then let me see if I agree. And if I agree, which happens a lot, I'll work on it.
Hmm.
If I don't agree, I ignore it, but that's okay. I'm thankful that it takes a while. See, my new screenplay I'm writing right now, I've been writing now for 2 years, and I'm putting a lot of effort in it. But I go through phases in which I send it to my editor, I send it to my partner, the company, I send it to people I know who understand screenwriting and story, and then I get feedback and I keep working. And collaboration is everything. And filmmaking, one of the things that attract me so much to filmmaking is that it truly is one of the greatest collaborations of all. Because you need to have the actor, you need to have the elements, the camera, the script supervisor, the lights seem to be good, and then gosh, and then you finish filming the movie, you got your editor, and he's gonna color the movie, and he's gonna bring all these elements. So it's a collaboration. I mean, you need, gosh, I think we have in our film about 60 people in the end of
Oh
the day
wow.
working on. Yeah, I mean, if I count down the list of people who worked in the film between the beginning and then post production, which also can be very difficult. I mean, we're talking about a huge amount of people, like 50, 60 people.
Yeah. Absolutely. And one of my favorite courses I ever took in college was screenwriting. And the important part
Mhm.
about it was we didn't just write something. We wrote it and brought it in and everyone read it and gave like feedback. And
Yep.
that it's my favorite course of all time. I still have some of the scripts I wrote. And at some point I'd like to maybe do something with them. I don't know. But
Absolutely, absolutely. You see, there's no feedback. You can really think it's great when it's not, and it's not nothing against you. I'm just saying, like it happens to me. I'll write something, I'll be like, I think this is great, and then
right.
somebody says, well, Gil, maybe how about you do this instead? And I'm like, okay. And for writing, as you've done screenwriting, and which is I love it so much. It's also very helpful to abandon it for a while,
Sure.
because you come back with a different perspective.
Yep.
um and I'm doing this. I did this with the Halloween feast. I mean, because I would abandon it for 2 years, and then I would go back and, oh, I have some interesting ideas now. Somehow your mind, there's a reset or something, and you go back into it. With my new screenplay, I'm not taking too many breaks as long, because I don't want to be working for 10 years on it. hopefully, hopefully I can make it things a little faster now. I hope, fingers crossed.
Sure. Sure.
Uh, we'll see what happens. But I'm taking breaks of maybe 1 or 2 months, and then I go back, and it's amazing how your mind just comes up with different solutions sometimes to the problems.
Yeah.
Uh, Screenwriting and even playwright, and it's all about, okay, the conflict. How do you resolve the conflict? How do you get here? The obstacles. Without obstacles, you don't have a film. You don't have a reason to exist. It's just like real life. We need to overcome these obstacles to get somewhere that we need to go. And you talk about horror. Oh my God, that's fun
Yeah.
to think about those obstacles.
Yeah.
Um, when I was, I think the early movies that inspired me. Have you seen Peter Jackson's early film, Brain Dead?
I have not. No, it's on my list though.
Okay, okay. I want you to watch that, because people don't know about it, because people know him from the big what do we call it, Lord of the Rings, and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
And King
But Peter
Kong, that's a
Jackson,
big one.
yeah, he started like in New Zealand, and he did this film called Brain Dead, which basically is almost like maybe a bigger budget than Halloween Feast, but it was that. It was a small film with which is absolutely batshit. I mean, that movie is batshit. And to this day, I think is the most amount of blood I have seen in a
Oh
long
wow.
time.
Okay.
And I saw that I was a big fan of that movie. And obviously Evil Dead is another movie that was made for very little money at the time.
Sure.
And Sam Raimi just did this amazing masterpiece, which is incredible. But listen, I'm not putting my film in that level. All I'm saying is these movies inspired me to we can do it. We can figure out a way to do a lower budget film that is actually good if
Yeah.
we join forces with the right people and have a good screenplay and all of that. Um, you know, Another story I have from a Halloween feast is I had about, I think, 3 gallons of blood, like
Uh,
huge gallons of fake blood for the
Yeah.
film. And I actually wanted more blood, but I'll tell you what happens. My makeup artist and special effects artist, they kept holding me back. And I'm okay with it
Hmm.
because we didn't have in the budget the cleanup that we needed
Oh, I
to
didn't even think
use.
about that. Yeah.
Dude, let me tell you one example. Okay, the kitchen scene at the end, right?
Hmm.
Pretty bloody everywhere.
Right.
We had to hire a company to clean that kitchen, and it cost almost $2,000.
Wow.
A professional cleaning crew. There's no way we could have cleaned that. Um, that was expensive. And not only that, the amount of blood we had, even though it was a lot less than I wanted, damaged the house so much that we had to pay for painting the house all over, replacing the curtains. So that's what I'm saying. The house was expensive, not just because we had to rent the house, but because we had to actually pay for the damage.
Hmm.
And if we had used the amount of blood I wanted, dude, dude, dude,
You might be owning a new house.
oh my gosh, dude, because honestly, I wanted The Shining. I want, when the blood goes through the
Yeah, the
elevators.
flowing, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. See, I wanted that from Cujo. Okay, I'm not gonna say what happens, but there's a certain Cujo scene at the end, like like I'll give you an example. I want it to be 10 times more blood than what you saw in the film,
Oh my
but
gosh.
I'm okay with it. It's
Yeah.
okay. We got
It's
it. We
still
made it. Okay.
don't let that dissuade you guys from watching this. There's still a lot of blood.
Yes.
There's still a lot of blood.
A lot of people say it's very bloody, and I'm like, well, it would have been way more if I had my way. Like I said, I had people stopping me, like, Gil, maybe we should not do this. And I'm like, okay, okay, okay. But in a way, they were right. So
Yeah,
it saves me thousands of dollars. So
sure. Yeah. You talk about like writing and going back to it and things. I've always found that when you get discouraged writing something, I think about a quote I heard, and I don't know who said it, but
mhm.
they said that art is never finished, it's only abandoned.
It is. It
And
truly is.
that's, yeah,
It truly is. You can't keep writing a screenplay forever. I mean,
right.
until you die. I mean, you can, and the thing is, it will never be perfect because you
Sure.
will you will write, you will be like, it's perfect, and then I guarantee you, 2 months, 3 months, a year later, you're gonna look back and be like, oh no, 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 there's something I can change here. Oh, I can make this better. And trust
Yeah.
me, I've been through the Halloween Feast with that, the new screenplay. You actually have to abandon it and decide to do it.
Yeah.
When you're, I guess, a filmmaker and you're like, okay, I want to make this film. I want it to be a real movie. Trust me, it's like you have to actually stop and be like, this is the right time, and it's not gonna be perfect. I have a friend of mine who drives me nuts because he gets a screenplay, it's perfect. One person tells him, "Oh, it's not good enough." He goes back to writing and he never does anything. And then
Mm,
it's been a decade. It may
yeah.
be 30 years until he does something. And you cannot live like that. You have to. That's why, the reason a Halloween feast took so long is because it's because really the circumstances. Because obviously, imagine how disappointed I was 10 years ago when we could make it.
Hmm.
Even though I think that now it's much better, the story is better, I had more of my team and everything's great now. But 10 years ago, I was heartbroken. I mean, you build up all this emotion that you have this film you want to make, and then it falls through. This company didn't bring a single dime, and we're just like, we don't have money. It's heartbreaking, and it just makes me pivot into, all right, I'll just focus on acting and do my thing, and who knows. I had no idea that things would actually come together for me to be like, all right, let's make a Halloween feast. um, and I'm gonna tell you, the big kick for me to make a Halloween feast and just go for it was, I had just filmed a movie in Brazil called, if you look on IMDb, it's called Tough Cowgirls.
Okay.
and it's a very fun movie. Big budget. It's a racing movie. I played the antagonist. I mean, we spent 2 months filming cities. I mean, it was one of those like big projects that you think that when you're in an actor and you're filming with a budget like that, you really think like you made it. You go
Yeah.
like, wow, this is amazing. I made it. But what you don't expect is that, I like the film, but the film didn't do as well as I think anybody imagined. So it didn't propel me into a career that was bigger than what I had.
Sure.
And when I came back is when I decided I need to actually make my film, because it doesn't necessarily mean that a Halloween feast will change my life or give me a career. I just need to do it,
Yep.
because it's just hard not do anything. It's just hard not to do anything. You have to actually get yourself to do stuff. I even tell you, this is what it is here. If you can look at this is the movie right there. You see
Oh,
it?
I was gonna ask. I saw a clip of you with a big mustache. I thought that was that
Yeah, that's
movie.
the one.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
one. That's the one. Amazing, fun movie. A lot of people say, "Oh my God, it's going to change your life. You're going to, now, get bigger projects and things will happen." And the reality is, I love the film, but it didn't really lead to, okay, let's hire Gil now to do this film or that film, or generate something. Uh, it was amazing, and I hope that I'll keep working with the director. His name is Gui Pereira. He's in Brazil now, but he goes back and forth between Los Angeles and Brazil, and love him. He's a good friend, and we have a partnership in which I'm in almost all of his movies, and he's helped me with many movies. Oh, and by the way, he's the one having the conversation to the psychiatrist through the screen.
Oh, the guy drinking, right?
Yep,
Isn't he drinking? Yeah.
yep, yeah. He is the director of
Okay.
of this movie and a different movie, and many other short films I did with him in the past. Uh, but what I'm saying is, when I came back to Los Angeles, and I felt like life didn't really change that much. I mean, the movie came out, went to theaters, it was fun, but I felt like I want to do something now that I wrote. I had
Yeah.
that desire. And for me, it was like getting a kick in my butt that I didn't see that success, you know?
Sure.
It drove me to just go like, let's make a movie. I called had my company, Bright Night. My partner his name is Lou D'Amato. He plays the psychiatrist, by the way.
Dr. Park, right?
He's
Yeah.
Dr. Park.
Yep.
And he's my partner in the company. And basically, I called him up and I said, "We're making a movie." And he says, "Okay, let's do it." I'm like, "All right, let's see what happens." And I really love that I put him in bondage and BDSM scenes. I still joke with him. I say, "Lou, you're gonna get a new career out of this movie. You're gonna be on the BDSM Weekly, the magazine." You're gonna-
That's amazing.
yeah, I tell Lou, I say, "Hey Lou, like dude, it's a new career for you now, man."
I, I,
you
I
know.
want I want to, this seems like a good place to transition into talking about you a little bit more. So, I mean, before
Sure.
we do that, like a Halloween feast, tell people where they can find it and, give your pitch
All
to
right,
why they
guys.
should watch it.
All right, Halloween Feast is a dark comedy with some very insane twists that I believe that you have fun watching. When I think about filmmaking, I think about entertaining. So I never would want to make a boring film. I think Halloween Feast is definitely not that. So I think it's a movie that if you give yourself to it and you pay attention, don't be on your phone, I think you dig it. There's a lot of weird, ridiculous, weird shit that probably you will not forget. And it's
Hmm.
available on many platforms. If you can watch for free on Tubi, Fossum, Roku, I think that's it. And if you hate commercials, you can purchase for like $3 on Amazon Prime or iTunes. You can purchase it on YouTube. There's quite a few places beyond that. I think there's 12 platforms. If you just do a lazy Google, you can find it anywhere. So the movie is highly accessible. Right now, the movie's playing in both US and UK. So in the UK, to be UK, it works. You can watch it. And we just closed a deal with a company for Latin America. So we're going to be
Nice.
releasing, yeah, we're going to be releasing digital platforms in Latin America. I think Brazil first, starting I think July, but I am not entirely sure yet. I'll know very soon. I can let you know about
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So
absolutely.
that's where we're at, man. Yep.
That's awesome. I talking about you, I was watching one of your actor reels on YouTube. Um,
Mm.
and I saw a movie, I think it's called Athena, that looks
Oh yeah.
insane.
Oh
Can
yeah.
you tell me about that movie? Like I want to find that and
Dude,
watch it.
Athena is on YouTube, and you can find it easily. I think if you just type Athena, and I think it's called Rogue something. Sorry, it's a company. I'll send you the link.
Okay.
Um, it's a sci-fi short. It's not a full feature film, and it was directed by a good friend of mine called Andrew Kadikian. Andrew is an old friend for over 10 years, and he is a phenomenal director. And like to say, the collaboration is he did the titles of a Halloween Feast.
Oh, okay.
So,
Nice.
so we all help each other here. So, yeah, Andrew, he directed the sci-fi film. We're in a different planet, and I played the bad guy. Sometimes I get to be the bad guy. I think sometimes when you have an accent, they go like bad guy. So it's okay. It's all good. It's all good. So yeah. So I'll send you the link. It's on YouTube. It's called Athena,
Okay.
Athena. Yeah, there's quite a few things on YouTube. I think that people can find with me some short films but Athena was fun. Yeah, we shot it in the mountains above Los Angeles, like
Oh,
a lot of snow. It was
nice.
just insane, but
Yeah.
very fun little film.
You say about playing the bad guy. We just I submitted an audition for a short film filming here in Pennsylvania. And I've been told that my face isn't very much of a bad guy face. So trying to channel the bad guy face. I maybe I need to do an accent. I don't know.
Listen, let me tell you something. I think it's just that, okay, when people are casting, they have something in mind.
Hmm.
And trust me, there's no better bad guy than a guy that doesn't look bad.
Sure.
You,
Yeah.
you know, but it's depending on what you want. I mean, sure. I mean, sometimes you want a bad guy to be menacing. That's different, you know.
Yeah.
I would rather have a bad guy who you think the guy's good.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I think it's more exciting. But I feel like being an actor, I feel like we should never be upset when we don't get cast, as
Sure.
long as we do the job of the actor, which is memorize the lines, go in prepared, do the lines, because most times, I'm going to say 99%, you would never be cast in that role because the director has an image in his head.
Yeah.
So even if an actor comes in and doesn't do a good job, but looks exactly what he wants, he's going to get the job.
Hmm.
It's just one of those things that actors get so frustrated that, oh my God, I did this audition, I killed it, I didn't get the role. I mean, yeah, because you're not filmmaking films. It's a very visual medium, and the people who are casting and the director and the creative people, they have that image in their heads, and
Yeah.
when they do casting, they're trying to fill that image, you know.
Sure.
So and sure, you could come in and convince them. I mean, that could happen, but
Sure.
there's no rules. I mean, you just got to go out there and keep auditioning, and it's the same thing with low budget filmmaking or whatever you're doing creatively. You just keep going. There will
Yeah.
be rejections, there will be things. You just got to keep going, just keep moving. That's it.
Yep. Yep, and that was part of the idea. Like I'd done a lot of auditions, but like this, right? Like just in front of the
Mhm.
camera, like reading. So what we did for this one is we actually filmed the scene they sent me, like with fake blood and everything, and made it into a
Wow.
short film and sent it. So I was like, if nothing else, maybe they'd want me involved in the movie because showing initiative.
Yeah, and maybe you have a short film now. You
Yeah,
can have a portfolio because I
yeah,
feel like a lot of the film industry, people want to see what did you do before,
right,
and it's good to have something, that you can use and be like, hey, look, I did this.
yeah,
When people do short films, it's a great showcase your work. Like Andrew, he doesn't have any feature films. He'll be there someday, but he's got, I don't know, probably 50 short films, and I'm going to say
hmm
they're quite amazing. They're
sure,
decent. um, so he knows how to make them. He's a very skilled guy, and um, we'll see. Well, we're all trying here, man.
yeah. That's the idea because the tough part. I'm trying to make the transition from theater to film. And
Okay,
I found that the tough part with that is I don't really have a reel because of copyright issues with theater, right? Like you can't have people
okay.
recording what you're doing on theater. So, yeah, we'll see. That's fun. If you
You know,
this next movie,
here's
if
the
you're
thing.
coming to the East Coast, I would love to be involved in some way.
Let's talk
Help you
about it.
out.
Let's talk about it. We'll see. See, the next movie I'm writing, hopefully, I'm doing the last rewrite. This is what happens. Last famous words, last rewrite, and then 2 months later, I'm writing again. So
Yeah.
it's a murder mystery,
Okay.
and so it's not really a horror film. It's a murder mystery with some horrific elements, of course, I have to,
Of course.
and a very crazy ending that nobody will expect. Uh, and I'm not sure yet how it's going to go because you see, I'm going to try to really do it with a higher budget.
Okay.
Um, but then that's the challenge. The challenge is finding the investors. So what I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to promote a Halloween feast the best I can, because the better that a Halloween feast is out there, the better chances I have to convince somebody to give me some funds to make a new movie.
Yeah.
So there is some wisdom in just kind of waiting a little bit and don't rush, not rushing the next movie, but really get the word out and working with people and slowly, and basically be able to tell an investor, our movie did pretty well,
Yeah.
time to do another one. How about you get involved?
Right.
But dude, absolutely, let's work.
Let's do it. And hey, any way we can help promote Halloween Feast, we want to. Is there anywhere we can go and get like merchandise and stuff? Because I've got a big hole back here that I need something, and I would love something Halloween Feast
Man, you
to
know what
be
I
on
can do
every
is
broadcast.
I'll send you like a high resolution poster. You can just print it.
Oh,
How
perfect.
about that?
Yeah.
How
Yeah, that
about
would be
that?
awesome. Yeah, it'll
I'll
go
send you
right
some
there.
like yeah, I'll send you some images and you can print it. And by the way, this is interesting. You're in Pennsylvania because my distributor is there. Breaking Glass Pictures is in Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're great. We're good friends, and I think they did a great job. And hopefully, they told me they will start promoting the film again closer to Halloween, which is it's a Halloween movie. So
Huge.
at the end of the day, it's like September-ish. I think they'll start promoting again. But we have a lot of East Coast connections. My editor is in New Jersey, so
Right.
I lived in New York for 5 years. So I have a big connection to the East Coast. And the new movie, there's a chance that we may use, if all stars align, of course, use a studio facility for the green screen stuff in New Jersey.
Oh,
So
okay.
uh, we'll see. We'll see. The only thing, the new movie that becomes a little tricky as far as location is I found already, but we need to find a perfect church. And renting a church is a little bit complicated because um, it needs to be no longer a church
Sure.
because 80% of the movie is that church. So we need to be
Okay.
able to just go in there for like 30 days. and
Yeah.
just like shoot, 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 shoot. Um, and the church has to be specific. It has to be kind of old, tall bell tower. There's a few things that need to be look right when it comes to the church. And so far, I found the perfect one, but it's in Oregon.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm still looking New Jersey, Connecticut. Lou D'Amato, he's in Connecticut. So again, I guess our company is a little bit bi-coastal because
Yeah.
it's like LA, Connecticut. My company is actually the LLC is in Connecticut, by the way.
Okay.
So even though I'm here, my company is in Connecticut, which is kind
Yeah.
of funny to think about. Um, but we'll see, man. I feel like we can keep in touch, and I'll let you know how things are progressing. And
Yeah.
as you can see, I'm an open book.
Right.
So,
Yeah. You said about re-promoting the movie around Halloween. I know that Halloween Feast was not the first name, it was Prodigal Feast, right?
yep,
So
correct,
what
correct.
sparked the change with that?
Good story about that. So, A Prodigal Feast was the title since the beginning, from, over 10 years ago. We shot the movie as A Prodigal Feast. What happened was, Breaking Glass Pictures, our distributor, acquired the film. And one day they called me and they said, Gil, I think a lot of people don't know what the word prodigal means.
Hmm. Okay.
And I was just like, and even they were nice enough to say, if you don't want to change the title, we keep it. Think about it. They just told me to think about it. So then, I talked to Lou and we're like, okay, I mean, prodigal is a kind of a weird, strange word. I mean, also prodigal gives a little bit of the ending, if you know what prodigal means.
Right.
The prodigal
That's
son
pretty
story,
symbolic. Yeah,
the
very
symbolic.
symbolic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. So I think we spent about a week brainstorming titles, and Breaking Glass. They wanted a bloody feast. So we almost were a bloody feast, almost. You know, and then Lou actually came from Lou D'Amato. He called me one day. He said, I can't think of anything but a Halloween feast. And I'm like, you know, I mean, the climax happens on Halloween.
Right.
I mean, the movie wasn't designed to be like a Halloween movie. If you read some of the criticism, some people go like, "There's not enough Halloween." I don't know if you've seen. If you go across some of
Yeah,
these, I
I
guess.
saw some of that on Letterboxd, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. There's some reviews that are not like stellar, which they say, "Oh, it's not really too much Halloween." And I get it. It's because the movie wasn't made to be a fully Halloween movie.
Right.
The concept of a Halloween feast, of a prodigal feast, was basically a story that could happen any time of the
Sure.
year.
Right.
And then to make it interesting, I made it the climax on Halloween. And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, so there wasn't like when I conceived and created the project, I didn't have this idea of like this is a Halloween movie, and that's why, because it wasn't. And
Yeah.
um, so when we changed the title to a Halloween Feast, I knew that we would have some people saying, I wish you had more Halloween in it, and I'm like, yeah, it is what it is. Okay, you know what? The climax happens on Halloween, so calm down. So, so that's the
I
reason.
like that.
Basically, our distributor didn't think a lot of people knew what prodigal meant, and he thought it would confuse people. And I was just like, okay, let's change it. And so, not a story of distributing a movie. Sometimes you come
Yeah.
up with a title and they can say we don't like it. So,
Absolutely.
hmm
I think I really only have one more question, and I normally start this at the beginning, but we got right into it,
hmm
and I love that. So I'll ask you
I know
now.
we're like, ah.
Yeah, right into it. Yeah, we had to start recording and stop talking
hmm
so that we could start it. So it's more just about you and kind of how much of a cinephile you
Okay.
are. So I'd like to know, and it doesn't have to be from this year, but what is the last great movie that you watched?
The last great movie that I watched. Okay. Let me think about that. I watch, you're gonna laugh at me because I am, I how much I love horror and I love the crazy stuff. I loved, uh, Azrael on with I don't know if you saw that on Hulu. I thought it was
Yeah.
awesome. You know, I mean, I love that stuff. But I actually like all kinds of movies. And when I think about great movies, like masterpieces that I saw recently, I'm gonna say in the last like 10 years that I saw, one movie I always go back to. It's a movie called Ex Machina.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I
A24.
I
Yeah.
love, you see, I love sci-fi. I'm a big fan of sci-fi. I don't know if one day I'll ever be able to do it. You need money. That's the thing to do sci-fi. But
Yeah.
I love sci-fi. I love some of my favorite movies of all time are sci-fi. I'm gonna say 2001, Space Odyssey, Stanley Kubrick.
Sure.
I'm gonna say Ex Machina. I'm gonna say Blade Runner. Um, these are for me. These are some of the best movies ever made. Myself, Guile Branco, I tend to, when I think about incredible masterpieces, I go back to those movies. Um, if I think about great horror, that's just amazing. That's incredible. I'm gonna say Talk to Me was incredible to me. I
Yeah.
thought, and I'm gonna say, okay, I know this movie also has a lot of criticism. I love Hereditary
Mm.
by Ari
Yep.
Aster.
Yep.
I Ari Aster, I don't know about Beau is Afraid. I don't know much about I'm not. I wasn't like a huge fan, but I'm gonna say the one with the flowers in the hair. What's the name of that movie?
Yeah. Midsummer or
Midsommar.
Midsummer.
Midsommar. Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like I love Midsommar so much. I'm gonna say Midsommar, Hereditary. I mean, absolutely, absolutely incredible films. Um, you know, uh, Not a lot of people's cup of tea, but for me, it's just like this was great. You know,
You s-
when the
you
people are
s-
jumping from the rock, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. That got me very good. My wife does not care for bloody films,
hmm
but
hmm
she watched yours with me. But yeah, when we watched Midsommar, it was crazy. But you said about Talk to Me. I got to go to an early screening of Bring Her Back last night, which is the same
Oh, what do you
directors
think?
that made Talk to Me. I really enjoyed most of it.
Okay, okay.
That's kind of where I'm at.
Like I'm saying though, it is filmmaking is hard because
Yeah.
it's very hard to replicate a thing. And in a way, okay, I haven't seen Ari Aster new movie, Eden
Eddington.
something,
Yeah,
Eddington.
Eddington.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it's getting some buzz. Beau is Afraid wasn't really my thing, even though I like the concept a lot. Um, but it's just hard because clearly, now that he became a very successful director, he's doing what he wants. He's
Yeah.
basically going and doing the story that he wants to do. He does it, um, and sometimes the audience just doesn't. It doesn't click with some people, but that's
Yeah.
filmmaking.
Right.
You can't expect to click with everybody.
Hmm.
Um, like a Halloween feast. If I can click with 1% of everybody who sees it, it's worth it.
Sure.
Like if I get 10%, I'm winning. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
hoping I'm getting at least 10%. Uh, because it's very subjective, man. I mean, like I know people who hated like 2001: The Space Odyssey. I know people who hated like Midsommar, including.
Yeah.
I love Midsommar. Hereditary gets so much crap. I love that movie.
It's great. It
It's
terrified me though. It was one of the
Yeah.
scariest like movies I've seen, but I loved it.
Oh my God, it's so scary. I saw Talk to Me
Yeah.
again. It's very rare for me to rewatch a film. Yeah, I saw
Same.
Talk to Me last week again because my wife and I were like, let's see it again. We put it on. And I was just like, yeah, this is some intense shit. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm really into it. You know, if I stop and think about great movies, man, I can go back to like Steven Spielberg. I think he still is one of the greatest filmmakers
Yep.
ever. Like War of the Worlds for me is a horror film. War of the Worlds
Absolutely.
is incredible. Fun story. I moved to New York. I auditioned for War of the Worlds.
No kidding.
There is a role of a neighbor right in the beginning of the film, because they shot the movie in the Ironbound, New Jersey, near
Okay.
Newark, by the way. And I was living there, and I just got an agent. This was 2003. Think how back this goes. And one of my first auditions, I went into DreamWorks in Manhattan to audition for the role that was supposed to be this Brazilian Portuguese neighbor that Tom Cruise had. It's right in the beginning of the movie before the attack happens. I didn't get it, but it's life, you know. But
Right.
um, but but War of the Worlds for me is just like amazing, amazing, and
Yeah.
it's just an incredible movie. And for me, it's just that's horrific and that's amazing. I mean, what he did. War of the Worlds, or what's the one where Tom Cruise goes back in the memory, the thing that also a Steven Spielberg movie. It just
Oh
I'm
yeah,
blank.
I can't think of it. I
Minority
know what you're
Report.
talking about. Yeah,
Minority
there it
Report.
is. Yeah.
Minority Report. I watched the movie probably three, four times because I just love that movie so much.
Yeah.
Um, so there's a lot of stuff. I mean, The Shining, Kubrick. That movie for me is incredible, and I love the fact that Stephen King hated it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
Stephen King hated what Kubrick did. And here's the thing, Kubrick took the story and made it his own. And
Right.
that's the reason why I didn't want to give a Halloween Feast to a different director, because you have to respect it's your vision. So if you give your screenplay to a director, I have to respect his vision and I have to
Yeah.
step back. I
Yep.
can't be a writer that goes like, oh, I want different. Um, so Kubrick did his thing, and I love it. I love The Shining. I
Yeah.
did not care for Doctor Sleep. But that's
Sure.
me. Okay, that's me. I love the simplicity of The Shining. The best stories out there are simple.
Hmm.
The guy goes to spend the winter with his family, and he goes crazy and is possessed, and that's it. That's the story. Boom.
Yeah.
You know, when you start adding like vampires, it's I don't know. Sometimes
Yeah.
when you start adding too much stuff into a story, it doesn't work.
Right.
But
And
anyway,
I do love like our horror franchises, right? Like our Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street,
mhm,
things like that. But there's also something so beautiful about a succinct
mhm,
one film that makes you feel like you could get more, but you don't need to. And that's how I felt with The Shining. I felt like The Shining was just
absolutely.
perfect with itself and everything
Yep.
after like wasn't great.
Yeah, The
But
Shining does not need a sequel. I mean, that's
right.
it. It's a
Yeah.
movie, you know. A Halloween Feast cannot have a sequel because everybody dies.
Yeah. Spoilers, but
Oh, spoiler. Oh, shit. Okay, sorry, guys. Well, hey, if somebody's going to listen to this for an hour and a half, they're going to watch the movie
yeah.
regardless.
Absolutely. I did you talked about short films, you talked about Ari Aster. He has a short film, I cannot remember the name of it, but it's the
Mhm.
perspective of a homeless person, I believe living in Los Angeles. If you haven't seen that, I
Interesting.
would watch it. It's maybe 7 minutes long, but it was my first
Okay.
taste of Ari Aster and it was phenomenal.
Okay.
So
I guess, okay, probably, you can probably find it on YouTube. YouTube is
yeah.
great for just finding little short film gems from people. And
Yep.
yeah, you can just put it on. There's another short film I did. Even if you have time, look for So Far. So Far, I produced. It's 8 minutes. There's no dialogue. It's just animation and live action. It's an action film. It's a
Oh,
8 minute
nice.
action film. If you just write my name, Guile Branco, So Far, Sofar, you can see it. And it's basically a proof of concept that I had for something I wanted to hopefully sell it to Adult Swim or something. Didn't work, but it's just a fun little thing that I did that if you have time, you can just check it out.
Yeah, I absolutely will. So, well, thank you so
Good stuff.
much. I'm
You're
very
welcome.
happy we had this conversation. Like
Of
we
course.
said, go watch Halloween Feast. We will have a full review of it, but we're gonna do that after this because I want, everyone to get your
Sounds good.
perspective on what's going
And
on.
and
So,
you asked me what can you do to promote. I think it's just talk to friends and be like, hey, watch the film. It helps. I think what we need is independent filmmaking is we need eyes on it because sometimes movies, if you don't get enough eyes on it, then people don't discover it, and then people don't
right,
know about it. And something really good cannot sometimes disappear because there's so many movies out there. You look at, Tubi even. I mean, there's hundreds of thousands of movies So there is a fear of the independent filmmaker that when your movie gets into Tubi, it will just disappear. And it's real. It's actually a real fear.
Yeah.
So that's why if we just stop promoting, I mean, not everything has a viral effect. We don't know what's going to be. And sometimes it takes us just telling people, watch this film, watch this film, watch this film. And you do what you can do. We don't have funds for like big promotions. So for us, it's the word of mouth. So I thank you so much for allowing me to talk to you for about the movie and everything. And I have a huge amount of appreciation for you and for all your friends and who's going to watch this. And all I can say thank you and be grateful. Thanks so much.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. And
Yep.
yeah, this has been the Real Friends Podcast. Go follow Gil on everything. You're on Instagram, YouTube, the whole shebang. So
I'm around. Yeah, I'm around. I'm very easy to find.
awesome. All right. Well, hey, that has been the Real Friends Podcast, and we'll see you next time.